Hey, all you midlife women out there. Are you ready to step into spicy confidence? If the answer is yes, then we have some exciting news to share.
We are launching a one-on-one coaching program for midlife women who want to start showing up as the most confident version of themselves and who aren't afraid to go after what they really want.
This coaching program will help you discover your voice, embrace your desires, and develop your inner confidence so that you can truly live the authentic life you want without holding back.
There are only 3 spots available, ladies, so head to the link in the show notes and apply now. Now let's get into the episode.
All right, ladies, we got a good episode for you today. It's all about midlife lust. Jules, is it a crisis or a comeback?
I guess it depends.
It does depend. And first of all, I just want to point out that we have the luxury of recording outside in the beautiful Pacific Northwest because that's where we're at. So if you hear the birds in the background or maybe a dog occasionally barking off in the distance or the cheers from a soccer game, that's because
You'll know you're in the suburbs,
yeah, that's
right?
just where we're at. Anyways, but midlife lust. Let's talk about this.
Have you ever looked at like your partner across the table, Michelle, and gone, who is he? You know, he's still hot, but who is he?
Yeah. Or why are they breathing so loudly?
Yeah. You could say that when they're sleeping too.
This takes me back to more so when I was married, and for sure these are some of the things we're going to talk about because I think especially for me anyways when I was like 40s headed into 50s, and I don't know if that resonates with your time frame at all, Julie, but for me it did. And suddenly, if there was anybody paying attention to me, I just thought, I was the shit.
Well, you kind of were. I mean,
But you know what I'm saying?
so
Did you?
that actually it's kind of like, oh my gosh, someone's paying. Maybe you hadn't really gotten that attention at home, or you just don't really even think about it, and all of a sudden someone pays attention to you, and you're like, oh hi,
Mm-hmm.
like someone noticed me. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah, I've got a couple stories of my own on this one, so we will chat about that a little bit. But
Well, and I want to point out because now I know at that time it's not necessarily, we talk about the whole midlife crisis thing. And it's not necessarily about that, but it's, I think, kind of blowing the dust off from our insides
mhm.
and reawakening some of the stuff that's in there that has been buried for a while,
Yeah, like
right?
really, really buried,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like put on the back burner. And it's not just for you, but it's like when you're in a relationship, especially, this is something that probably happens more often than not. But, midlife lust is not about cheating. It's not about, your partner or whatever. I mean, heck, you don't even have to be in a relationship for this to happen. But I think it's more, we're really focusing on this more as kind of like a wake up call.
Yeah.
It's like because there's something like Michelle said that is buried in there that maybe hasn't stirred in a while. And so then you see the guy with the power tools and you're like, oh shit, he's hot,
Pool boy.
the pool boy, or, the guy carrying drinks or whatever. And it's not even about the guy. It's okay. It could be about the guy. It could be about what he looks like. It could be about how he's dressed, how he carries himself, all of those things. But it could also just be about you going, hey, I'm kind of noticing this person that I didn't notice
Well,
before.
I think there's a myth out there too that desire in midlife kind of dies with the
Mhm.
age.
Yeah, that's very
As
true.
we're moving on. And I call bullshit on that.
I honestly think that it's actually become more prevalent as I've gotten older. Like I just really ignored it during a lot of like the beginnings of menopause and things like that. That's the last thing that was on my mind, unfortunately, for my husband. It was just the last thing that was on my mind
Yeah.
because I didn't feel great in my skin. I felt like I just felt icky. I didn't feel like I was well put together during parts of it, or I didn't feel like I looked attractive in parts of it. It was just, I wasn't putting the time or energy into me.
Did you find though that in those pool boy moments, I don't know when those moments are. I'm just using that as an example, but it kind of, does shake the dust off of things
Hmm.
inside, even when you're in that redundant relationship
Hmm.
of marriage or partnership, whatever it might be. And when you have a pool boy moment and somebody might pay attention to you, for me, it was but football coaches, my
Mhm.
boys played football,
Yeah.
and sometime, they pay attention to you, or, say things, and it's like, okay, kind of puts a little pep in your step, kind of blows the dust off
Yep.
from the inside, and then, you can be a little more intentional. You kind
It's
of
kinda like a li it's kinda like a
bring
little
that back into
ego
your own
boost.
relationship.
Yeah. Well, you could take that home with you for
That's
sure,
for sure.
but you think about it, it's like if you're in that place, it's like your significant other's probably in the same place, or
Mhm.
you get into these routines, right? When you're in relationships where if there's not a lot of, things to mix it up, if you're not making an effort to mix things up, things become very routine. Sex becomes a routine, but routines become routine. It's like, what's Friday night? Oh, it's pizza night. It's like it's the same thing all the time. You're
Yeah.
just revolving the clock, and the next thing you know, it's Tuesday,
Yeah.
and it's Tuesday again, or Wednesday, or whatever,
Yeah,
and
sure.
the patterns don't change. So it becomes kind of predictable and maybe a little boring. Now, predictability isn't a bad thing necessarily, because I think predictability provides kind of safety, in not physical safety, but emotional safety, when you know kind of what to expect, or you know what your partner's all about. If
Mhm.
you're in a place though where either A, you don't have a partner, or B, you have a partner who you don't feel completely comfortable around, like maybe they have a wandering eye,
Mhm.
or maybe they are really flirty with other women around you, and then they blow it off and say, oh, you're overreacting. They're not giving you the same type of attention that they're giving other people. You notice those things. So
Right.
if someone does pay attention to you,
Mhm.
it carries more weight, I
Yeah.
guess is what I'm saying. It might carry a little bit more weight.
It feels good.
Yeah, it does. I
It's
was
like,
gonna
"Okay, I am sexy."
You're so, so sexy.
Sexy.
Yeah, yeah. I had a little story on this one that, I wanted to share, because I think this is a really good example, and this was when I was in my late 30s, and I was on a girls' trip with, some of my friends, and my husband wasn't happy at all about me going because he was home with the kids, right? And it was like 4 days or something. And when we were at this place dancing and stuff, and I ran across this person, right? Danced with him, had so much fun. We had such a great time. Nothing happened, obviously, physically happened or anything with him, but it's like he is not the center of the story. The center of the story is me, because it's all about me. But but what that person did was really kind of wake me up. I mean, and there's more to, obviously, that time. We spent a lot of time
Well,
talking.
and you totally remember it
I
this many
remember
years
it.
later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was an age difference too, which is a whole nother topic we'll get into in a later episode. But it woke me up. It was like, what the hell? It's like I'm having conversations with a perfect stranger that I should be having with my own significant other,
Yeah.
and I wasn't. I mean, they weren't super intimate conversations, but my point being is that I was having conversations with someone else that was not my significant other, and it made me realize how much of that communication I was missing.
Mhm.
And so it was a good thing in that it got me to have that conversation with my significant other, and
Was that hard?
oh my god, so bad. It was so hard. And it wasn't even like something that,
I mean, kudos to you for doing it,
well,
'cause I think there's a lot of women out there that wouldn't have, the courage to do that.
there's a lot of men that don't want to hear about this
Sure.
anyway
Yeah,
either.
we're trying to edit ourselves, right, to
Yeah.
save the pain of somebody else.
All they wanna do is know they just wanna know if you slept with them. That's
Right.
all they care about, is if you
Yeah.
slept with them. No, did not. But that's
Yeah.
not the point. The point is
Mhm.
that this person, kind of woke me up,
Yeah.
and it was a good thing. And I appreciate that person to this day. I've never spoken to him since, and I don't need to speak with him.
Yeah.
But what he made me think about, what I was lacking, became so incredibly evident at that point, that I knew that I needed to do something different. And
Yeah.
so that's where I think a lot of women are, right now. And when you get into this whole, lustful thing, I mean, women, we go out and we see, like, the Chippendales guys or whatever. I mean, it's kind of a joke, really, because we're
Yeah.
out lusting over some guy with painted on abs, and, he's super cute and stuff, but we have no interest in these people. It's just more for fun. you
Well,
know?
and I think at 25, that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
Well, I was married with 2 children by then, but, in the
Yeah.
younger
What do
years,
you mean, painted on abs?
well, just no abs in
Oh,
general, like, good looking, attractive, fit,
but don't you
sexy
want that, like, in
abs.
your age
I
group
mean,
you're at
yes,
now?
but I think what's more attractive for me anyways is
Mhm.
emotional
Yeah.
availability.
Well, there's the physical aspects of things for
Of
sure.
course.
Okay, so when you're left lusting after somebody, you're not lusting after their brain, right? You're lusting after what they look like, really, or what
Well,
you envision, or
initially
what you
initially, that can be the case,
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
But you never really, if you're in a relationship, you don't get to the point usually where you're finding out enough about this person to go, "Oh, look at all the things they offer that my spouse doesn't offer." I mean, you don't get to that
Well,
point.
I was just thinking in general. I didn't think about the fact of having a spouse.
Yeah.
I was just thinking in
Well, if you don't have a
general.
spouse, I hope you do something about the lust. Unless he's married
Yeah,
or in a
that's
relationship, and then that would be really bad girl code, girl form.
yeah.
We would never do that.
Nope.
That would be super bad. But there are pick me girls out there that do that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
sadly.
that's kind of beside the point. But I guess, like you said, the myth is that in midlife your desire fades. And if you're being told that, then that's probably what you're starting to believe. And then you start carrying yourself in that way, that your lust
You
is
just really have
gone.
to be intentional. I believe, and I know this now. I didn't know it then. Like, and I'm talking like 40s,
Yeah.
right? But you really have to be intentional about really understanding yourself and diving into what your confidence level is in regard to these things because it really starts within, I
Yeah.
think,
You're right.
right? Because there's always going to be lustful um, encounters, if you will. I'll just use the pool boy example. There's lustful encounters, whatever they might be, right? But you have to understand that the signs of a lustful attraction are probably highlighting unmet needs
Needs,
that you
exactly.
have.
Or it could be foreplay. Like, you're getting that lustful attraction, you're like, you can't wait to get home. There's
Right.
that option too,
There's that
right?
option too.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
So
But and I guess I'm talking about more when it becomes more of a wake up call,
mhm,
those lustful moments or interactions that you might have, unmet needs. Maybe you're not feeling seen. We just
mhm,
had an episode about that.
yeah.
Making yourself fully seen in midlife. Uh,
And that's probably one of the most dangerous things if you think about it in a relationship, because and I go back to the relationship aspects of this, because I think a lot of women that are listening are in them. And when we're talking about this topic, it's like there's this borderline between emotional cheating or
yeah,
cheating in general, and you may be in a relationship where it's open, so those things might not be an issue. But for the most part, people are in monogamous relationships, so it's not something that they would probably be comfortable doing, or their spouse wouldn't be comfortable hearing about
yeah,
it, so to
yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
And I think that's your gauge. It's like you can lust after the pool boy, or you can
Hmm.
lust after you know, I don't know, who would I lust
The
after?
cable guy.
No, I probably wouldn't lust after the cable guy.
I mean, it could be a barista, it could be the bartender, it could be, the soccer player,
As
the
we're
soccer
sitting here talking, I'm
coach.
like, who am I lusting after right now? I don't know.
Oh.
Probably someone that wrestles at the gym. I don't know, but I kind of leave that as my safe space, so I don't really do too much of that there.
Well, but I think like you had to do in having that honest conversation after that experience that you had with that person that you met, those are the things, an experience like that obviously it exposed cracks probably that were going on already
Yeah,
in your current relationship, right?
yeah.
And gives you reason to, like it did for you, like really take a look at that and
Gives you certain pause. Yeah.
knowing that that a certain attraction like we're talking about isn't necessarily the problem. But again, I'm just going back to unmet needs that can really be part of that. So
I think that's a huge part of it for people, although they won't necessarily admit it, you know?
yeah,
It's not like they're necessarily gonna say, "I have unmet needs, and so I'm gonna have fantasies about this person." It's like sometimes fantasies about some other person, might, like you say, you might take that home with you and be able to apply it towards whatever's going on in your own house, which is not a bad thing. your person doesn't need to necessarily know that you're lusting about the guy over at Shucks Auto Supply or whatever, or Home Depot or
Well,
wherever.
like when the barista remembers your coffee order, right? And maybe your name. So you keep going back there because,
Mhm.
we're that just like feels good. And then we start, dreaming about being with a barista guy in the future because
And then
he's,
my mind goes with, "Yeah, but he doesn't have a good job, and
oh,
he's
there goes Julie
well, he
asking all
doesn't
the
own a house."
questions.
I mean, I start getting into all the things going, "Yeah, okay, well, this I just ruined it for myself, right?"
Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Or the cute guy at the dog park who has a husky. I just imagine what his house looks like with all the dog hair.
But well, and just yeah, there you go. But in those moments, like again, I want to bring it back to the intention and focusing less about the other person that maybe
And more what it says to you.
well, and yeah, more about what it's saying to you and rediscovering yourself and the whys behind some of that stuff,
Yeah.
right?
So the crush itself is really more about, information, really, and it's
Yeah,
the information not about that person, but
because
information more about you.
you be catching feelings all day long and chasing that, every single day. Because I know y'all sexy out there.
Mhm. You know y'all sexy out there.
Oh, y'all sexy out there. But yeah, focusing on what those moments might be
Yeah,
teaching us, right?
yeah. So the hot guy,
Um,
Michelle, is not necessarily the point.
the what? The hot guy?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be,
it could be the point,
but
but it's
but
not
it's
necessarily the point.
yeah.
He's
It
kind of the messenger of your point.
especially if you are in a relationship, that's really where, it's a little different if you don't have a significant other, if you're not married, if you're not in a partnership and you're flying solo, those lustful moments are going to look different to a certain degree, but
Mhm,
again, I still think there's opportunity to discover things about
mhm.
yourself through times
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So,
So if you're single,
especially
you
in
can actually
midlife,
what's she saying, you
especially
guys?
in midlife.
If you're single, you can act upon it, but if you're not, then you just have to fantasize about it. That's what she's saying.
Well, I mean, either
Yeah,
way, it feels good.
yeah.
So,
So what is your attraction telling you? Your attraction's telling you that, gosh, is there a part of me that's asleep, right? That
snoring.
snoring, taking sleeping pills, whatever. And what are you craving more of in your life? Because if there's something missing, and this probably resonates with women in relationships at this point
Yeah.
more than others, because there's something missing in your life, then this is going to actually break that wide open. If you're running into someone who's providing that interest or that attention or things that you're severely lacking at home, or that, your person's taking you for granted, you know?
Yeah.
That's definitely an option. So, you really need to look at it and, like, more like, "What am I learning from this?"
Yeah. And
Instead of acting upon it,
well, and
unless you want to.
exactly, instead of acting upon it and just know that if that is happening,
Mhm.
it doesn't mean you're broken,
No.
right? Or confused. It doesn't automatically mean a relationship is over or your marriage is over, or that you're not normal if there's not a significant other, right? And it doesn't mean you need to go buy a sports car and get a divorce
Mhm.
and, get after that 28-year-old pool boy or
It
personal
it
trainer.
doesn't
Like, it
have to
doesn't
be
mean any of that
it
stuff.
doesn't have to be a midlife crisis is what
No,
she's saying. It's like
exactly.
but the people around
It is.
you might think that that's what's going
Yeah.
on, so that's something you have to be prepared for.
Well, and just pay if you act on it in that way, be intentional and pay attention to the awakening that we always refer to.
Mhm.
Not the crisis part, but the awakening,
Right.
because that's exactly where we are in midlife. We have the ability to, you know, uh, choose the way we want to and be okay with it.
Mhm.
Blow the dust off the things that have been, hidden inside, the feelings that have been hidden inside, the ideas and dreams maybe about things that have been, dusty for a while,
In
and
other words, don't ignore them.
don't ignore them,
Yeah,
you know?
that's important.
Yeah.
That's very important. And,
And
I guess
you're never too old to feel those things.
no, I think we're actually at a place in our lives where we have the ability to feel them differently
Yeah.
because we don't have all of this other clutter, or we're trying to be in a position where we don't have all this other clutter going on in our
Well,
lives.
because our kids are getting older. If you've
Mhm.
got kids, they're older, they're leaving the house, midlife is that time. And you can pay attention to how you want to navigate something like this a little bit more than when you're in the throes of, younger children
Mhm.
and things that go, you're working and all the stuff. And you got sports and practice to, like Julie said earlier, pizza on Tuesday night, and then it's Tuesday again.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we have more freedom to act accordingly to how we're feeling
Mhm.
in midlife.
Right.
So
Well, and we're hoping that just bringing this up and talking about this and basically saying it out loud makes you realize that you're not alone in those feelings. If you're having them, there's nothing to feel guilty about.
yeah,
We've gone from having a crush on the barista to having an affair all in about 15 minutes,
the pool boy.
the pool boy, yeah. But it's really different for everybody. And I think what I'm kind of seeing, and maybe this is because it's coming from my own experience, is that if you're in your 40s, you're in your late 30s, you're in your 40s, you're in the throes of the shit usually at that point. You've got young kids, you're running from one place to the other, you're not spending the time on yourself, all the things we've been talking about and we chat about quite often on our podcast. And so this is one of those things that can break open a little crack in the foundation. Uh, or it can also fill the crack in the foundation if you play your cards in the correct way, with the person that if you desire truly to be with that person still.
And remember, ladies, never apologize for wanting more.
Hell no.
Do not.
Hell
So
no.
there's that.
Yeah. So in the meantime, a lot of the things we're talking about here are directly related to our coaching program
Hmm.
and the confidence that you have and the ability you have to dig deep, and really ask yourself the tough questions. We want to make sure everybody knows that this is stuff that we actually dig deep on and talk with our clients about. And we want to help you get to the point where you understand where these things are coming from and that you are acting upon them accordingly, or that you are putting them in the right place for yourself. And it's really just important for us all to know that we're just human, you guys. We're trying to navigate the shit just like everybody else, right? And nobody has a playbook. That we're the playbook kind of, I think, because we've done a lot of these things, but we'd love to be able to have an opportunity to chat with you about them one on one.
Go check us out on the socials.
Yeah.
If you're just stumbling across this podcast for the first time, we're out there on all the socials: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. We are on YouTube, so subscribe if you go see us over there. But the coaching program that Julie is talking about, yeah, we help mentor one-on-one clients. We tailor it specifically to what you're looking for in midlife,
Hmm.
and help you through whatever it is that you are wanting to build confidence on. So the link for that is in our bios on all the socials. The link is also in the show notes wherever it is you're listening to our podcast. So check it out. And if you see us on the socials, comment spicy and we'll send you more information.
Hmm.
So, anyways, enough about that.
Okay, Michelle. So do you think this is all related to a midlife crisis or no?
Uh, sure. It's not a crisis, ladies. It's an
No,
awakening.
it's an awakening. Exactly. No
Yeah.
crisis allowed.
Yeah.
Awakening. So in the meantime, thanks for joining us and stay spicy. And if you're
Everybody.
not spicy, become spicy.
Yep.
We'll show you how.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.